So it's finally here, the game that All Blacks and Irish rugby fans have been waiting for 3 years since the draw was made. Um, in fact, most rugby fans kind of figured it out now because honestly, who makes a draw 3 years out from a tournament? But anyway, yeah, it's Ireland versus the All Blacks. This really should be a semi-final, but in any case, it's a quarter-final. And honestly, now when you look at the draw now, perhaps whoever wins this will almost certainly go into the final, because let's be honest, whoever wins this game should really be Wales or Argentina. Next minute, Wales and Argentina, always Argentina goes on to make the final. But yeah, so easily the most hyped game in certain quarters, unless you're South African or French. Ireland, New Zealand, look. This is a weird feeling. Look, it's not the first time the All Blacks played Ireland, or in the quarterfinal. And in the previous times, Ireland, like they have with every single time they made a quarterfinals, have just gone out. It is crazy. This is probably one of the least spoken sporting quirks. The Irish rugby team has never made it beyond the quarterfinals of a Rugby World Cup. And you could consider all the talented players they've had: your Brian O'Driscolls, your Keith Woods, your Paul O'Connells, Donker Callahan, Sean O'Brien. It is just quite amazing, and they've had chances. I think you think they played likes of France, Argentina, and other instances, and they've those are sort of the sides that they have the pedigree to beat. They just haven't done it. And then of course you talk about the last World Cup 2019, they faced the All Blacks just about under 12 months after they'd beaten them in Dublin. And look, I know that was sort of on the back of them losing to Japan, and All Blacks were finishing top. That was always going to be a hard ass, but ultimately they got slammed by the All Blacks in that game, and that wasn't even the peak All Blacks. The All Blacks ultimately got overpowered by the English. So it's a lot of like what ifs. There's so many what ifs with this Irish team. But yet this time it feels quite different. It feels like, for the first time, undoubtedly Ireland are the favourites going into this game. Just simply, they beat the All Blacks in 2 tests in New Zealand last time. The rankings are higher, and they've finished top of what was undoubtedly the best first round group in Rugby World Cup history. I'm not saying you had Ireland, Scotland ranked fifth, South Africa, the reigning world champions, always a perennial top 3 team. And yeah, the Ireland beat them. They're playing a brand of rugby that All Blacks fans would be familiar with, and we just wish this is the sort of rugby that the likes of Richie McCaw, Kieran Reid were all playing until they retired. So it is a fascinating time, and maybe it'll be interesting to see how it goes. All Blacks have never been underdogs in any sort of quarterfinal, let alone this one. And I guess we should really talk about the teams. So the Irish have confirmed their teams. There were a couple of injury question marks. Two of them have been answered. Okay, so James Ryan, who has had that lingering wrist injury, he's now he's gone back to Ireland to see a specialist about it, because of course he sustained that wrist injury against South Africa. That hasn't really recovered, so his place is taken over by Ian Henderson in the starting lineup, and Joe McCarthy will be on the bench. Ian Henderson's a very underrated player in my opinion. I know he's a little bit older now, but he's still a presence. I quite liked him in the British and Irish Lions and tour in New Zealand. And I think he's gonna be a formidable challenge for the likes of Sam Whitelock and Brodie Retallick. And I guess, since we're speaking about locks, Ben Henderson versus Whitelock and Retallick, that is going to be key. Look, as I said, Whitelock, Retallick, probably the best locking duo of all time. Sam Whitelock possibly has the merit to say that he's the best lock New Zealand rugby's ever produced, even ahead of the late Sir Colin Meads. So that's going to be fascinating. But Other than that, yeah, you're looking at this. The other question, I should say, yeah, Mac Hansen was the other question mark. He's starting. He had that head knock against Scotland. Looks like he's fit to go. Couple of things, yeah. I think Robbie Henshaw had that. It was an injury cloud. He's been ruled out completely. So Jack Crowley, Jimmy O'Brien on the bench. Connor Murray's the backup halfback, as he's always has been in the last 2 years to Jamison Gibson Park. It's still weird how Gibson Park, who was pretty much considered a Blues, pretty much a Super Rugby max, player at best, is now the Irish starter. But good on him. Johnny Sexton, of course, 10. James Lowe at wing, Bundy Aki, Gary Ringrose at centre, Mac Hansen and Hugo Keenan. Pretty much the team we'd expected. Yeah, so as a quick addendum, it's just over 2 hours since the All Blacks 23 was announced to play Ireland, and yeah, obviously there is a bit to talk about. Definitely not quite the side I was imagining, for a couple of reasons. So yeah, look, so Tyrell Lomax is back, so that's great. I should talk about props while we're on it, talking about Lomax. Interestingly, Tungapasi and Laulala have missed starts, so both Crusaders pairing of Williams and Newell make the bench. So that is a very interesting call there. The other key selection, Scott Barrett will pair with Brodie Retallick, so Sam Whitelock will make his 149th appearance if he does off the bench. And of course, yeah, that by the way will make him the most capped All Black of all time. So yeah, look, I think I have said in the past that, in this season that Scott Barrett has probably been the best All Black this season. I mean, he had that red card against South Africa, but look, I think, I think it is a toss-up between Scott Barrett, Retallick, and Sam Whitelock. I'm speculating that maybe Foster, the coaches see Whitelock better off as a bench. He can't play 80 minutes anymore. At his age and all that. So yeah, we shall see. I mean, certainly, as I said, as I said earlier in the video I made which I made yesterday, I thought Whitelock Retallick I thought was it's our best ever locking duo, and it would have been the ideal response to the threat from Ireland, whether it was Byrne, Ryan, or Henderson. But look, I think Barrett. I think they certainly won't lose too much with Barrett. So the other big news is at number 11, Lester Fa'anuku gets the start. Look, he deserves it absolutely 100%. I guess the question, of course, is what happened with Mark Telea. So the story is that, which was confirmed by Ian Foster at the press conference after the naming, was that Mark Telea was left out because he broke squad protocol. So yeah, I think that's a pretty reasonable call. Lester, as I guess for those who were not may not be as clued up with the All Blacks and protocols and all that. Look, if you break squad protocol, you need to be punished accordingly. And look, Mark Telea has paid the price. Hopefully, it hasn't cost I don't think it will cost the All Blacks on game day, because I think Lester Fa'anuku has shown to be to deserve a starting spot. The other thing with Fa'anuku is he can move in. He's got that. He can play centre if need be. So yeah, look, I mean, as I said, this might be the All Blacks' last game, and this could very well be Lester Fa'anuku's last game for the All Blacks, because he is heading overseas after this. So we shall see what happens there. Now, one thing, I guess that one other thing to comment about is the halfback on the bench. So they've named Finley Christie has been named as Aaron Smith's deputy. I expect he will come on in the second half, as has always been the case. Finley Christie hasn't really featured too much in this Rugby World Cup, to be honest. Look, a lot of attention's been on Cam Roygaard with all his try scoring, but I think Foster has said that Roygaard, Finley Christie has been selected to have Roygaard simply because he's of his defensive ability. Look, Roygaard, I mean, Roy Gart's had a brilliant rookie season, and look, and I think some people might say his game against Uruguay might not have been his best, but I think at the same time he is a rookie, he's entitled to have a bad game or two. But I guess arguably not the best time to really have it, and I think having Finley Christie there against the experience of Finley Christie, who's also I'd argue is just as fast and maybe lack the physicality, maybe an issue there. But look, I think Finley Christie in there obviously for experience. Staying on the backs, I guess they've named three backs on the bench. So the more traditional. I thought I was going to go 6-2 on the bench because it's Ireland, the forwards, but they've gone. The coaches have gone for three. So the backs are Christie and Damien McKenzie, and Anton Leonard-Brown does get his chance. Look, that's great. Anton Leonard-Brown, of course, wasn't under an injury cloud, so it's good. Like alongside the likes of Tyra Lomax, he's recovered. So that's great news. There is one final thing that actually might have been, or many might have overlooked. Dane Coles has actually beaten out Samisoni Takiaho as backup hooker to Cody Taylor, who starts. So, yeah. Again, key of experience, maybe. Obviously, Dane Coles, Dane Coles is probably, he was the first really truly athletic hooker in World Rugby. So, could this be Dane Coles' farewell? Hopefully not for All Blacks fans, because that means that Ireland has won. I did in my prediction video, I did say Ireland by 3. I'm only just doing that from a realistic point of view. Look, of course I'd want to see New Zealand win, but if Ireland wins, I'm consigned to the fact that we're, as I said in the past, this isn't a vintage All Blacks team. It might very well become if they win the All Black, if they go and shock Ireland, go into the semifinals and make the final, which it could still happen. I mean, effectively you're almost. Now we're looking at it effectively. This is one. It's almost like much as no disrespect to Wales and Argentina. This is one game. It's pretty much quarterfinal and then the final. But look, it's look. I mean, if they don't win this, it's we've had 3 win. It's just that's just one of those things. It's a Rugby World Cup cycle. It's 4 years. While the tournament is the tournament's 4-6 weeks, anything can happen. But to get to this point, it's 4 years, and I guess under this, I guess we just haven't had the personnel, we just haven't had the coaching, the players, and all that to really show that we're number one. Obviously, I think we kind of need to speak briefly about the game. So Wayne Barnes has been confirmed as the referee, which is a good choice. I think. On that note, I should really mention why on earth are New Zealanders still harping on about 2007 on the forward pass. I know it's a bit of jest, but come on, that is 16 years ago. That was when Wayne Barnes was a teenager and shouldn't really have refereed that quarterfinal against France in Cardiff. But credit to him, he's recovered. He's become one of the top refs. I don't whether he's the best referee in the world. That's another debate. But I think he certainly is the right ref. Look, if we lose, it's not because my concern I think the issue with the All Blacks is that this particular All Blacks side is probably one of the least disciplined All Black sides in history in terms of conceding yellow cards. So I know red cards are easier to get nowadays with all the rules on the head contact, etc. But we've just time and time again shown that we just cannot adapt to referees, particularly the Northern Hemisphere ones who are more technical. They may not necessarily appreciate games and let them flow like your Ben O'Keefe's or Jaco Pipers. Look, Jaco Piper did the France-New Zealand game, and we still couldn't. We couldn't stop going to the corner of the classroom. So look. I think Wayne Barnes is probably. I think for New Zealand, a lot of Irish rugby fans have said that having Wayne Barnes as a referee is a nightmare for them, because I think Wayne Barnes has refereed in a lot of games where Ireland have lost. But look, ultimately, I don't think it's a big issue. I'm just trying to have a look who the TMOs are. It was released somewhere. But look, in any case, I don't think we should be blaming refs. I mean, I think certainly we've had issues with TMOs and all of that, but I think, look, it certainly has improved, and I think people are sort of understanding what's going on. And by the way, yeah, your TMOs Tom Foley, Matthew Carley, who from the RFU, who's that New Zealand South Africa game at Twickenham. I thought he was absolutely atrocious. He's assistant referee, and Christoph Ridley. So yeah. So that's my thoughts on the Ireland All Blacks. Look, all I'm just looking forward, Sunday morning, 8 a.m. You know, it's almost, 50-50. This could very well be the last All Blacks game of the season. So we've got to just enjoy it for what it is. I think it's going to be a great game. And look, I think the one thing I can say, at least it's not going to be Australia, South Africa, or England that we're losing to, because I can't bear really to lose it. I mean, well, I guess you can count Australia because Australia doesn't really play rugby anymore, but not South Africa or England again. I mean, look, England's already got a free pass to the final, effectively, so we shall see. Yeah, so would like to hear your thoughts on this All Blacks team to play Ireland. Is this the best team that could be named? Barring, of course, a few issues with Mark Tlair, and is it really a case of horses for courses? So yeah, like to hear your thoughts, and look, if you like this video, feel free to like and don't forget to subscribe.